I hope I can stop sweating at some point.
Just be on live greasy.
All right, I would be on live greasy, dreads going everywhere. This is gonna be the ghetto live.
Right, you silly man. KwameHBrown, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. This is I'm gonna introduce you a little bit. I'm gonna try.
Okay, do your thing. Do your thing.
This is a former teammate of mine, slash couple years older than me, big brother. But he went to Syracuse, smart brother. And anything I mess up, you just jump in at any time.
It's all good. All good.
He don't like the N word, so I will not be using that word while Etan is on.
I appreciate it, Kwame. I appreciate it.
A very conscious brother that don't play that. So, but he was a teammate of mine in Washington. He does podcasts. He write books. You're a journalist, right? Or what are you doing?
I don't like to put myself in that category. You know what I mean? Because I always, hated the media, to be honest with you. And, so I don't like to put myself in that category. But I guess technically, yes, I'm in the media. But, I'm different. Right. I'm a different kind of media.
Well, tell them about your education and your college background to kind of give some validity. Because, basketball players, we're not supposed to be able to write books. Stuff like that. But you've written several books. So tell them about your education and your background. That Momma's Cookin she put on.
Momma's Cookin. Yeah. So I started off right when I was young. I was from middle school, high school. I was on the speech and debate team. Mm-hmm. And, we was winning championships in basketball. We was also winning championships in speech and debate. You know what I mean? Okay. So that was just kind of my thing. And I was 4 years at Syracuse, got my degree. And, really getting to the Wizards was when I really started to look at the media and say, you know what, there's a lot wrong with this. It was really around you, or really around your whole situation, the way the media was treating you. And what I saw there, that was when it really opened my eyes to everything. And, I looked at myself more as like, I wanted to go at the media. Like, I don't know, you don't remember, Public Enemy, they had the media assassin, Harry Allen. And and that was like his thing, to go at the media. And, that's what I wanted to do. So that's why when you said I'm a journalist in the media, I don't like that title because a lot of stuff comes with that. But I'd be like Harry Allen. I'll take that title. Definitely. But so all the stuff, literally, I just finished writing an article right before we got on here that speaks to everything that you've been talking about. And
can you explain to the people what you mean by everything I was talking about?
So talking about the media and the way that they control the narrative and the way that they influence and the way that they influence people's thinking. And, just the whole thing, I write for basketballnews.com, senior writer for them. And so I wrote about Anthony Davis last night. And, it's interesting because, and you ain't talked about him yet. I'm sure you'll get to him eventually. But Charles Barkley, a few days ago, he's making fun of Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? On TNT, he's calling him Anthony Street Clothes Davis because he's always hurt and he's always in street clothes. And that was like the running joke. And he's laughing, everybody laughing on set. He joking. Yeah, he always injured, everything like that, right? So the next game, which is last night, he tries to play. With the strained groin or anything, whatever that is that he had. It was honestly 6 minutes of terrible. Like I'm watching it with my son, and as soon as it comes on, Malcolm is like, why is he playing? Like he looks terrible. He's limping. Why'd they even let him play? That's what Malcolm's saying immediately. And I'm looking at it, because I was doing something else. I'm, making some food, talking with my boy Robin. We talking and stuff like that. And I'm looking. I was like, Anthony Davis playing? And I'm looking and I'm like, man, he do look terrible. And it's crazy because then it goes back to, I thought about Charles Barkley making fun of him. And then, you saw at halftime, Barkley was like, yeah, the team doctors, they got to get some better team doctors because they shouldn't have let him play. I was like, hold up, bro. Let's
you gonna pick on him the whole time.
Right. You picked on him the whole time, clowned him, made fun of him, all of that. And then you're gonna say the team doctors shouldn't have let him play. You got to pick one side. You can't play both hands.
Why do you think some of the NBA players now are joining in on the joking of athletes? Because to me, being injured just comes along with it. You can't control whether you get injured or not. This is a sport it's a contact sport. You can't pick on somebody from getting injured. So why do you think the players do it?
I mean, I think with Barkley, I just talk about with Barkley and that, I respect, Kenny Smith. Sometimes I have disagreements with Shaq, but Barkley is there kind of as the court gesture. That's how I see it. And, he's sleeping through the game. He ain't even paid attention, but he commented on it. That's like
hold on, Etan. I got to go live on Instagram real quick because YouTube is not sending out the notifications. So we got to get more eyes on you real quick. Because this ain't right, YouTube. Y'all ain't right.
Why they ain't send no notifications out?
Yeah, everybody saying 1. They never got the notification. In the chat, they said put a 1 if you never got the notification. I mean, YouTube is going to do that. That's why I'm working on this podcast.
Okay. Do you think? Let you do your thing.
Let me get, because this is an important story, especially when you start talking about the basketball side of stuff.
Right.
So we gotta get some people over on Instagram to get the notification.
Got you.
So I'm gonna let them. So you can go ahead and talk real quick until people get in, and then I'll let them know where we live at on YouTube.
So it's just interesting looking at Barkley. What I was saying, when just the way that the ridicule. I mean, it was like just a joke. They was just joking on Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? Like calling him Anthony. Street clothes Davis. He always hurt, always this. I mean, you can't control if you hurt. You can, It's not like he, and then you see him. But the part that really bothered me though with that, and this is even speaking to a bigger issue, and I even remember. So in the article I just wrote, I even talked about you as well. I don't even know if you remember this. So you remember Eric Waters, right? Trainer from
oh my
God.
Hold on. Do I?
Yes. And he's still, I think he's with Utah now. But yeah, I saw him misdiagnose so many different people and throw them out there and have them play, and then they hurt themselves worse. Right? Yeah. So many people. And you were one of them. I remember when and you tell me if you remember this. We were in the training room. He's telling you that you need to fight through a little of discomfort or a little, in your leg. It'll be okay. And he said, I remember him saying, you have to prove to everybody that you're worthy of being the number 1 pick. And I was like, is that what he's using as the carrot to get him to play? You know what I'm saying? I was like, what kind of foolishness? And then I remember afterwards, so you played, you hobbling around, everything like that. You still playing through it and everything like that. And then later on, you found out you had a torn hamstring. It was torn. And he telling you to just play through a little bit of discomfort. But that stuff like that, and then that was like bothering you for a long time.
Yeah. Then when you can't bend down to catch, or you can't run, or you can't jump, it's look at him.
Look at him. And the thing is, you're bending down weird because your hamstring is torn. That's why you're bending down. Like you're not bending down like bending your knees and go. You're bending you're down like straight leg, trying to get the ball and you missing it, and your hamstring is torn. And I'm sitting there like, they know his hamstring is messed up. Like, why are they? And then they criticize you for not catching the ball when they know, and that's
my hands too small. Why wasn't my hands small at the draft?
Man, listen, I'd have told that story so many times about me seeing you at the draft.
Come to my YouTube. Etan Thomas is on. Come to YouTube. Gotta go. Mama's cooking.
No, but I told that story so many times of watching you at the draft workouts and how they brought you in, and then they brought in Tyson Chandler and they brought in Eddie Curry, and it really wasn't even close.
Right.
That's what I saw. It wasn't close. You was too strong for Tyson, you know what I mean? And you was too quick for Eddie Curry. And that's what I saw. You kept spinning off Eddie Curry and then you kept bodying Tyson Chandler, and they brought Tyson in twice.
Yeah. And then I got introduced to the dunker. I never heard of that spot on the court, but I know where it's at now.
You know where it's at now. Yeah. No, I hadn't heard that before either, though. I might have been something that Johnny Bakken then made up. You know what I'm saying? I don't
stand over there on that little hash and do nothing. Yeah, do nothing until the ball go up.
Right. I was like, okay. That's the play?
Yeah.
That's what we doing?
We just need you over here out the fucking way.
Right.
And when the ball go up, you bull rush to the basket, get your ass back.
Man, but that's why when I saw all the different stuff when it was talking about you, and I would get upset with people because they would act like they knew the whole story and they didn't. I'm like, why don't y'all ever ask somebody who was there? Why y'all always having these different people that weren't there, that weren't any even associated with the team, that know nothing, and getting their opinion on what happened, and not asking people that was actually there? So that's
they don't find validation in you. They find validation in our late great brother Kobe. So they'll play clips of Kobe. But you're right here, and you're alive, and you were there longer than Kobe.
Yeah,
and where it all started. But they won't ask you, Jahadi White, Tyrone Nesby, Chris Whitney, all of who I thought did a great job. You guys told stories that I forgot. When y'all started talking about kicking balls up in the stairs, and I had to hurry up and get them before the bus leave my black ass, I was like, dang, I forgot about that.
You forgot about it? No, because when you said it, I was watching the video when you was talking. Actually, what happened was you mentioned my name. You said, hey, ask Etan. He'll tell you. Ask Etan Thomas. He'll tell you the whole thing.
Because listen, I wasn't trying to stick to you.
It was all good. But it was funny because whenever you said it, I was actually taking a nap, right? And me and Nicole. You remember my wife, Nicole, right?
Yeah.
So we were taking a nap. And then my phone just started going off. Bling, 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 bling. Like just going off. She's like, what is going on with your phone? I'm like, I don't know. It just started going off with people sending me the clip and everything like that. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm not even going to just say me. I'm going to bring some other guys that were there too. So that's when I hit Jahadi and Tinez and C-Wit. And I was like, let's all talk about it. And as soon as I hit them, they was like, yeah, sure. Tell me when. You know what I mean? It wasn't we should do this one. It was just like, what do you think about this? Cool. Tell me when. Mm-hmm. And we just sat and talked and told what we saw.
Man. And see, I was never going to say nothing. And a lot of people kept saying, well, why wouldn't he say anything? Why would he wait 20 years? Well, they shoot people over Michael Jordan shoes. You think I'm going to tell people that Michael Jordan ain't who you think he is? And Doug Collins, because it wasn't as much as Michael as it was Doug.
Right.
And I think T. Nesby and me, I've come to the conclusion that the only reason why Michael hired Doug is because he can control him, though.
Of course.
So ultimately, it did come from MJ.
Yeah.
And so it's like you got all these guys. I'm an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid that's not playing.
Right.
Do you think anybody want to hear me talk while I'm not playing? While Stephen A. Smith is on that type of rant? Yeah. And I would have been out of the league right after my first contract. So I sat there and I never said anything.
I mean, people was saying the same thing with me. Well, why didn't y'all say anything? I was like, well, shoot, I was technically a rookie too.
Right.
I wasn't getting no playing time. What? I was like, do you go and tell your boss, look here, boss, why don't you do this, and this? Do you do that on your job? What we gonna tell Michael Jordan? We gonna look here, MJ.
You gonna stop talking to me like that?
What we gonna do? People kill me, man. I saw some of the comments. Why y'all didn't stick up for him? Why didn't y'all band together and say something? Like, y'all something else, man.
Hey, MJ he went upstairs and said, "Who all said something?"
Right, that's it.
They put a line through all y'all names.
That's all. That quick. That's it.
It's been over with. He'd been like baseball terminology.
He said, "John Thomas." That's it. I'd have been gone. That's how it was.
Yeah, Johnny White.
Yeah, that's it.
No, sir.
But people honestly don't know the extent. I mean, there was a lot more that we could have told. I mean, that even the way that they treated you, and this is really how it was funny when you said that I would come up to you and I'd be like, man, I don't even know what to say. I was cracking up when I saw you say that. I was like, no, that was exactly because I didn't know what to say. I was just like,
I used to laugh so hard. Listen, I could tell you was a genuine dude just because that face that you would make. You did it again. You just like, bro, like I don't know whether to hug you or start crying. Like, nigga.
I'm like, you want to go and get something to eat? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
But hey, you know what a nigga being fun. Sorry. You know what a brother being tortured when he say, "Are you hungry?
You hungry? You want to get something to eat?" Man, it was because it was messed up, but people don't know the extent. If they had cameras and saw how you was treated, they would view the whole situation completely differently. And the thing about you exposing that and talking about it now, even when I wrote the article for Basketball News and told everything that I saw, all the comments were like, "Oh wow, we never knew this. We always thought this. We didn't know that this and this happened. Like we didn't know that this." So it's so much deeper than just the surface. And I mean, and the thing with Stephen A. Smith, I'm glad you're talking about him because that I mean, when I would see him, because this is the thing with journalism and media people and people who are in front of the camera all the time on a big platform like ESPN all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have the ability to control the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Like Malcolm X said, the media is the most powerful entity in the world.
And they're doing a very good job of it.
But he knows that. So you saw when I did the follow-up article, I did the interview with Pete Babcock, the former GM. Mm-hmm. Did you see the part towards the end where he said one of the things that he heard was going around the league that MJ came to you and said he wanted to start the Breakfast Club and where they working out in the morning. And he said he came to you and you was like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's too early. I was like, that didn't ever happen. He said that was the rumor around the NBA. That was the rumor. And I was like, well, did MJ say that? And he said, no, MJ didn't say that. And I said, well, did any players that were there say that? He was like, no. I was like, then why did y'all listen to that? Like, honestly, like, why did y'all, who was the source that said that? Like, do y'all care about sources? Do y'all, try to fact check anything like that? And that interview spoke to a bigger issue of why NBA teams, executives, presidents, everything like that, listen to rumors and how false narratives really, because a lot of people's response when you first started talking about everything with Stephen A. Smith, they were like, well, he needed to just be able to take criticism. Players get criticized all the time. You know what I mean? He got to have tougher skin. I was like, no, it's deeper than that.
I got to ask you a question, because when they say stuff like that, and I bring up when they talked about Jamarcus Russell and all these different players, because it's not just Kwame.
Right.
I mean, people have put up videos of the way he talk about our white counterparts compared to the way he talk about our black players. Right. And when those guys got hit with marijuana, the way he talked about Zach Randolph, about that situation compared to when he talked about that baseball player that was allegedly on harder drugs, which is heroin. Right. He acted like he switched the conversation to Barry Bonds. So I got one question that I kept asking around on my internet. What is your opinion, and why do you think they sent Stephen A. to those colleges to talk about me for over 10 years?
So I'll tell you why. I thought it's much bigger than Kwame Brown, and I wrote this in the article. Listen, I was a part of the union for a large majority of my time in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So Billy Hunter had me on the negotiating team. So I'm sitting across from David Stern and everybody else while we're negotiating the collective bargaining agreements and things like that, and going through a lockout and having meeting after meeting and things like that. So I'm there. I heard with my own ears David Stern repeat almost verbatim the false narrative that Stephen A. Smith said about Kwame Brown and him trying to impose the age limit. And he was saying this is the reason why we can't have high school players go straight into the NBA, because they're not ready. And then he started.
David Stern said that?
David Stern said that. I heard it with my ears him talking. I was right there. And he
seemed to always have a hard on for me. He seemed to always have a problem with me.
But it wasn't personal. It wasn't personal. It was because he wanted to use you as the poster child for why high school athletes shouldn't go straight into the NBA. So it was so Stephen A. Smith perpetuated that narrative over and over again. And I heard him repeat the things that Stephen A. Smith and a lot of other people. It wasn't just Stephen A. Smith. I mean, I remember when there was articles in the Washington Post and the Washington Times, Baltimore Sun, all these newspapers all around here in DC that were saying things like they were just making things up. I mean, I argue with Alex Kennedy. You know Alex Kennedy over at Basketball News. He's a good guy, but he's trying to take up for the media. I'm like, no. He's like, well, maybe they just had bad information or they're bad sources. No, they were making things up. They were lying. So they're telling these stories about Kwame Brown, and he doesn't know how to order food. He doesn't know how to, use the dry cleaners. He doesn't know what, and I'm like, as soon as I remember reading the paper with them, and it was in the Washington Post, I believe.
Sally Jenkins, I think, wrote an article.
Is that who it was?
Yeah, so, Sally Jenkins. Oh, Lord.
So she was saying, if that was the one I'm talking about, but the article was saying that Kwame Brown didn't know how to order food. And he didn't know that a waiter comes up and takes your order and then goes and gets the food. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is a lie. we go out to eat on the road. This is not true at all.
That's why I told that story of the Greek restaurant. See, they always try to introduce you to shit that you don't want to, or things that you don't want to do. Right. And so I've gone to different places that I've walked in rooms and I'm like, I'm out. And so they don't like men that do that. So I'm a 18, 19-year-old kid. They take me to a Greek restaurant in LA and I'm trying to order a regular salad. It's not about me not knowing they come up. This salad got goat cheese, all kind of stuff. I'm 18. I'm 19. I don't eat this at this point in time. So instead of trying to force me to be something that I'm not, take me to McDonald's. That's what we. That's why I was on the bus. I was just on the bus 6 months ago eating McDonald's. Right. So I ain't just gonna snap in Greek right after that. So while they thought I was crazy, I'm just speaking common sense. Your son, your daughter that you just sent off to college is eating the same thing that I'm eating. I don't want this Greek stuff. Okay. Right. So I knew exactly what I wanted. And because I didn't bend, and when they keep saying, well, try this, just try it. I'm like, no, I don't want it. So they don't like people that do that.
Yeah, but with those reporters around the Washington Post, Washington Times, it was even deeper than just that, just a preference. It was that you didn't know, like you just did, like you was just a country bumpkin out the woods of Georgia, and you here and you don't know nothing. You don't know how to do it. Don't even know how to put shoes on or something like that. Well, and that's the way that was the tone of the article. Yeah. And I'm telling you, I heard David Stern use and quote those things and quote Stephen A. Smith as a reason why to impose the age limit. I heard that.
And that's a good thing. I'm glad you said that on record. Thank you.
Yeah, I heard that.
And but the crazy thing is, my transcript is public records. So if anybody want to know how slow Kwame Brown is, you can actually go and look it up. I went to Glenn Academy High School in Brunswick, Georgia. Right. So I was signed, sealed, and delivered to the University of Florida. I didn't get that. I had the NCAA sitting behind me when I took the SAT and the ACT. Right. So they would not. There was no cheating on this one. They were watching everything I did. They was following everything about me. And so I always had the feeling that another reason why I kept quiet is just always had a feeling like they didn't want me to make it. Somebody didn't want me to make it. Yeah. Because every time I would come up with business ideals and I got all the money to go do what I want to do, and somebody would try to talk me out of it. Don't do that. Don't do that. I go home and I got a bunch of guys from the neighborhood. We got paintbrushes. We about to redo the park. We was about to go to jail. So I'm just like, dang, you gave me the key to the city and I can't redo the park. Wow. So we had to run in and do all these red tapes. So it was like anything off the court, anything on the court, it just seemed like they made it a brighter spotlight for me. I get arrested for driving too fast. It was the biggest thing in the world. It's on every newspaper. Another person do it is, oh, the car was fast, and it's okay.
Well, there's a reason though. There's a reason. There was you were the poster child for that, and that was, and I believe 100% that there's a reason why Stephen A. Smith went at Kwame Brown in particular the way that he did all the time. Now, Stephen A. Smith is Stephen A. Smith. You know, he's all extra and does all the extra stuff, and he's like an actor and does the theatrics, and that's what he does. But with you, it was different. You know, even the people that he criticizes and says some things about, he says something about them, then he moves on. You know what I mean? He doesn't. But with you, he kept going nonstop. The footage that you referred to earlier, I put like a link in this article about it, where he's going to not only colleges but high schools, young cats, and talking about and talk. Yeah, it's young. You got to go. It's all the way towards the end. It's a whole compilation of Stephen A. Smith talking about Kwame Brown, and I just put it all in there. And he's talking to young high school. They look like they could be middle school. You know what I mean? About Kwame Brown. That's
not personal.
And it's amazing. I was like, what relevance does this have to any type of motivational talk that you're giving to middle school and high school players. But it's not players, classrooms. Not like he was just talking to athletes. He was talking to classrooms.
So he couldn't tell them about me being in a homeless shelter and that side of things. He tell them about a game that I'm not even getting minutes.
Listen, the whole thing was they could have told a completely different narrative. So the narrative could have been, right, that Kwame Brown at 17, 18 years old was able to persevere through an impossible situation where the top player ever, Michael Jordan, is on his back nonstop, and they want to blame him for everything that goes wrong because they want Michael Jordan to look good and to go out with a bang, which is what happened. And they was in this push for the playoffs, and all the pressure was on him, and he still persevered. That could have been the story. That could have been the narrative that they repeated. If Stephen A. Smith would have repeated that narrative, and it would have showed how you was able to persevere, how strong you were, how, even at 17 and 18 years old, you was able, but that went against the age limit. That went against the whole overall thing, because that would have shown a positive side of you. They wanted to show a negative side of you. Mm-hmm. And I believe it was all connected. Now, I don't know. I don't know if Stephen A. Smith and David Stern were connected, right? But I can connect the dots. I heard David Stern say that out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. So I know that was what his focus was. And we all saw there's public record when Stephen A. Smith said, I saw when he had his response, and he was like, I'm not saying anything about the man Kwame Brown or just his game and not the man. I was like, no, you made it personal. And that's all he had to 20 years later. Okay. All Stephen A. Smith had to do was be a man, admit it, say, I apologize. Okay. And leave it at that. That's all. That's all.
They can't seem to do that. Everybody I seem to talk to, I guess because I'm an old busted bus, they don't think they have to apologize to me until I make them. But I think I'm going to have a conversation with Stephen A. Smith at some point. And I might have to add David Stern because
David Stern passed away.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
David Stern passed away.
I didn't know that, but he represented the NBA. So I just always felt like what you said, and I've been looking up video I've been trying to look up video. Mm-hmm. I typed in Darko Milicic. I've typed in all the top draft picks. Yep. And I don't see him going. And I didn't know about high schools, but I can't find one video of Stephen A. talking about any other player at a college other than myself.
And the thing is, Darko was supposed to be the second coming from Europe. Like they took him over Melo. Like he was supposed to be the man. So for that level of expectation to be built up around Darko, you would have thought that they would have criticized him. They didn't say anything about Darko. Why? Why though? You got to point it out, and then you got to ask why. Well, I'll tell you why. Because at the very same time, David Stern was trying to push for like the European invasion. They wanted to take the NBA international, and he did. I mean, as far as marketing the NBA and taking it to a whole different, he was a great marketer.
They have to stand on my shoulders to do that.
But that's what they did because and that's the reason why they didn't say anything about Darko, because they want to have all the European players come in. When you have a European player, the whole country is behind him. Mm-hmm. The whole country supports him. So then
I told people it's about money.
Oh, it's always about money. Then you go into that market. Then you're setting up shop different places. You're getting the viewership. Revenues are going up. BRI, which is basketball-related income, and everything gets higher. You do that in each place. All they need is a superstar in a country. When you remember when Yao Ming? Remember when Yao Ming was injured, and they had the people who voted for the All-Star game? Mm-hmm. Yao Ming was way above everybody else, and he was injured that year. Why?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Because all of China voted for him. Yeah. It's all about money. Everything it's not personal. It's just business. But they use Kwame Brown as the stepping stone to be able to do what they wanted to do economically, and that's I understand. But they need to admit it. Stephen A. Smith can't just skip by it. I mean, when he went on ESPN and was talking, it was like you missing the whole point. But now everybody else is seeing. Like people are saying, wait, Stephen A. Smith's missing the whole point. That's not what Kwame was talking about. Mm-hmm. So he didn't help himself by doing that at all. All he did was expose himself more because people are like, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Kwame's not talking about how he played or how he performed. And also, just as you put together a collection of players, messing up, you can put a collection together of them scoring, dunking, everything like that, and you can control the narrative. And anybody that knows how you put together videos knows that.
A lot of people don't know anything. They're so used to sitting in their mama basement playing video game that they just want to laugh. Yeah. So at anyone's expense, you put out a narrative, somebody want to laugh. So that's it. That's all the media does is to bring out clickbait. They don't care that they disrespect celebrities. That's why I won't let somebody call me a celebrity, because you're not going to get a celebrity reaction from me in your disrespect. I'm probably going to disrespect you right back. Because
I think though, not to cut you off, but I think the only thing with that though is that as basketball players, young people look at us like celebrities, whether we want them to or not. So when Charles Barkley said before,
hold on, let me
when Charles Barkley said, "I am not a role model," I agree with what his point. This is a long time ago. I was young, so I don't even know if he was even. You know what I'm saying? So he made the commercial, "I'm not a role model." I think that the purpose of the commercial, was that the role model should be your parents, your teachers, your pastor, those people. But in reality, the role models that young people do look at are athletes and rappers and entertainers. That's what it is. That's reality. You know what I mean?
That's a pedestal that I'm not willing to live on. I'm not willing to let a man walk up to me and disrespect me in front of my family, in front of my children. And because I entertain you on a court and play a game, you put a label onto me that now turns me into a half a man. We have to get the world back to a respectful nature that once somebody is not entertaining you anymore, you no longer own a right to intrude on someone's space. It's common decency to not walk up to a man while he's eating. And I agree with Charles Barkley when he said, "I'm not a role model," because I'm telling you, people get very disrespectful. How can you feel like a man? What is your child seeing in you that you done made all this money? You done created all this wealth for him to take over. But then when you walk in the streets, you can't be respected as a man because you play a game. That ain't the way that works. The only people that they want to allow to be full men is rappers and the people that they pay and get money off of. A rapper can call somebody a B word, whatever they want to do, because they're getting a check off of it. An athlete got to walk up straight and act like a model citizen, and somebody can kick their drawers in their ass. I'm not willing to walk around like that. I'm just a man.
And let me say this though, I think they're a little bit two different things, because I was talking about specifically of how young people and how young black males,
and they'll see a man kicking somebody's ass if you
no, right. But they also look at you. Look, I've had so many young cats come up to me and tell me the reason why they had confidence and started wearing locks was because of me when I was playing with the Wizards, and I wasn't even no superstar. Right. You know what I mean? So, but that alone tells you the power of the influence that you can have on young people, and you don't even know it. Yeah. Right? I'm
not promoting violence, or I'm not saying, I'm agreeing with your point, but it goes to a certain point with me. Because at some point, I'm seeing you in action too now.
Oh, no question.
At some point, you got to put your foot down, and you have to be a full-body man and not live up under their rules. And that's why the disconnect between quote unquote regular people and celebrities, they don't feel like we're real, because we allow people to control our mind to tell us, because you make a certain amount of money, then you should act and think and do a certain thing a certain way. Sometimes that is a good thing, because kids get to see you walking in truth and being strong, but sometimes that's a bad thing. If they can get you to not be a man and stand up for yourself in certain areas, then another area, when they're kicking your drawers in your ass, you're not going to stand up then either. You're just going to talk. They're training men to just talk. And I'm not going to be the talking type of man. If you walk up to me disrespectfully in a restaurant or wherever else, I'm going to tell you, go fuck yourself. Okay. Because my son needs to see that. And not that I'm saying I'm going to be a wild coyote jackass. It's just that it's a difference between standing up for yourself and being a man and being this thing that they want you to be, which is, if an athlete get talked to like that by a quote unquote fan, he's supposed to put his head down and say, "Ignore him, son. We're better than that."
Now let me come back at you with this though. Same scenario, and you're there, and I've been through this every athlete has. They come up to you and stuff like that. So then instead of saying, you know what I mean, go F yourself, right? What I would do is like, listen, do you understand why it's disrespectful for you to come up to me while I'm sitting there with my son? What if I did that to you while you were eating? How would you react?
Right.
It's disrespect. So you break it down, because if my son sees me say, go F yourself, what's going to happen when he's in school and the teacher comes up to him and which is going to happen, he's going to say, go F yourself.
No, I'm talking about matching the energy. No, I'm not talking about if somebody just come up to you and say, hey, can I have an autograph? I'm not going to rewind that way.
I'm saying disrespectfully. When a policeman comes up to them disrespectfully,
yeah.
You have to be able to learn how to navigate through a situation that you're still getting your point across, but you're still maintaining your control and your manhood in a different way.
If the cop disrespect me, I've told the cop, go fuck yourself. Now take me to jail.
But the thing is, when I'm talking to kids, I tell them we can't do. Now, white kids can get away with that. White kids can tell the cops that
I wouldn't say that, because
no, I would. Because I've seen the video. Just like you go online and you see the videos of the white women cussing out the police, doing all that, spitting at
I've seen that.
We better not even think about doing that. And I'm telling kids, listen, there is a way.
You're gonna go to jail.
No,
go to jail.
But there's a way to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Without thinking that you can do it the way that they do it. And that's I'm not talking about not standing up for yourself. I will always tell people to stand up for themselves. Listen, when you was getting into the stuff with Stack and Matt, and I was like, listen, I understand why you're standing up for yourself. You know, when JaVale McGee was like, all right, Shaq, that's enough. It ain't funny no more. Yeah. I understand why he was standing up for himself. You know what I mean? So that part, I always tell somebody, you have to stand up for yourself. What I'm saying is that you also have to navigate away, because young people are watching and they're going to copy you, whether you want them to or not. Listen, I'll tell you a quick story. I was speaking at a school. This is Spingard High School in DC before it closed down, right? I'm going there and speaking, right? And there's one kid who was sitting outside of the room that he was, and he didn't allow, I guess he got in trouble. So I'm out there. I was like, wait a minute, why are you outside? He was like, because I slapped this dude in his mouth for being disrespectful to me the same way you slapped Brendan Haywood in his mouth. That's what he said. And I was
Brendan deserved it.
But yeah, that's not the point, Kwame. That's not the point. I'm
not gonna let you teach these kids it ain't no time to fight. There was a movie called A Time to Fight. There's a time to. Oh, go ahead, brother.
I'm just saying that's what the kid told me. So when he said that to me, I was like, dang, I'm giving a bad example for this kid. If he's going, so I could do all the talking that I want to.
So how do you know that's a bad example, though? You might have saved that kid, because I'm gonna tell you what I think happened. We kick little boys' draws in their ass for so long. The little girls come. I've gone to these schools. The bigger girls are going in there and whooping on these little boys. They got to run all around, and so boys are getting kicked in the ass from middle school on in their entire life. Right. And we keep telling young black boys, hold it in. You got to be a role model. You got to be an example.
No, not hold it in. I'm not saying hold it in, though. I'm saying you respond, but you respond a certain way.
I've been responding with silence in some situations.
Not with silence. I'm not saying silence.
I'm just saying sometimes it requires silence, because Negroes like to hang in groups. So sometimes you just I know how to navigate it. What I'm trying to tell my son is that you address it in a manner. You can still address a situation respectfully and be a man. Yeah. Just like somebody came up to me the other day. I've been getting a lot of love around Atlanta. People come to me all the time. I'm dapping them up. What's up, my brother? What's up, sir? But it's certain people, they'll just walk up to me, bump me and record me, and I say, hey, brother.
That's different. Yeah. And you have to
do that. And that's how I respond.
Wait, before you go, because I want to make sure you're getting a lot of love from a lot of people. A lot of people are talking. Listen, I just finished my next book. This is my 5th book. I finished my 5th book, and I got I'll be writing. So
congratulations, bro. I
got Fred Hampton Jr. to do the foreword. You know, Fred Hampton Jr., former Black Panther. They did the movie of him, Black Judas the Black Messiah.
I think he reached out to me. I think he in my email.
Okay, he told me he wanted to holler at you.
Okay,
so that's one thing. I'm gonna definitely have to connect you, because he has a lot of respect for you. And now we're doing the interview. He said, "Hey, I read your article and I saw your thing about your round table about your teammate Kwame Brown." I was like, "Oh, snap, that's cool." You know what I mean? Like, he's like, "So what?" I was like, "What'd you think?" He was like, "I love the way that he's standing up for himself. He's talking about different things. So he wants to connect with you." I'm telling you that, and I'm going to connect y'all. But I'm telling you that because a lot of people are watching right now how you're touching on a lot of different topics. You got everybody's attention. Right? You got their attention. And now while you have their attention, I'm going to hit you with this nugget and hit you with this and hit you with this. And it's not just about the drama, but that's the drama is what draws the eyes. The drama is what got everybody over.
They say I'm crazy. They say I'm crazy.
As soon as I saw it, I'm like, I see what's going on. You know, I'm watching, and so it's like what you're doing is you have a platform now, and you create a platform for yourself now that you're able to take it in a lot of different ways. That's why I was like, hurry up and start writing your book. You need to write your book. You know what I mean? But we was talking about this before all that happened. You know what I mean? But I was like,
no. Somebody made my whole YouTube career. They probably helping me write my book too. So I don't know what to do. I just need all this help. But you know, the people on YouTube know what I'm talking about. That person talked about you too, but it's all good.
Oh, it's all good. Hey, people talked about Jesus, so they're gonna talk about everybody else. You know what I mean?
And I like that shirt, by the way. Well, let me see that. Move your lock. Let me see your shirt.
So this is my my AAU. I coach my son's AAU team. So this is FBCG Dynamic Disciples. So that's my AAU team. So I do a lot of work with young people, and the way with young men, you know, the way to get to them is through sports. Yeah, and you can be. I mean, for me, when I was growing up, my AAU coach was my pastor, Reverend Potter. I stayed with him the whole time. I came with him 5th grade and stayed with him the entire time until I left for college. Other teams, you know how it is once you get to high school and get older.
You go all over.
Other teams want to, you know, invite you to come play with them, pay you to play over here, create this super team. I was like, nope, I'm staying with Reverend Potter because he taught me about life, not just basketball. About life, and so that's what I'm doing with these kids now. It's you know, and it's just something that I have a passion for. So I always, you know, but what I'm saying is also with that is I have to teach them because they've hit me sometimes. Hey, coach, I just got pulled over by the police. I was like, all right, put your phone on record, put your hands at 10 and 2, roll down your windows, turn off your music. You know what I mean, and do everything right. And answer with yes, sir. And if anything happens wrong, you're recording it, right? So don't worry about trying to win the battle right here that you're not going to win. That's a winningless battle. Worry about winning the bigger war when you have them on record. And then after you have them record and they do something wrong, then you know how to report it. I'll tell you exactly who to report it to for the Prince George's County Police Department from this, you know what I mean? So it's like planning, not meaning that you got to be docile and just not say nothing to put your head down. You just have to be smart about it. And a lot of times our kids, and I was in this situation. I'm in, you know how, you know, all right, we'll take it back to the Wizards. You know how much self-control I had to have not to knock Doug Collins out every single day in practice?
Oh, I know.
Like I would be like y'all would pass by. I would be I'd be on the plane, right? And I'd be sitting there writing or something like that. Y'all be like, man, he don't talk to nobody. He just sitting there.
Right. I
was trying to calm myself down so I don't knock this dude out.
Hey, look, I used to pray like, I hope he come up here and play cards or something with us. I had to play cards. I had to take my mind off of it.
Everybody does different things.
Yeah, I couldn't do what you did. I'd have just sat there and just boiled over. I went crazy. So I had to go play cards. I'm like, man. I would look back every now and again like, boy, I know they're gonna ask me to hold this big old joker. I said, Lord, I hope you don't get up. But with the driving thing, let me say something with the driving thing that I think you should implement.
Okay.
With these kids, a lot of these kids are such introverts and they're such gamers. Like my son, he's about to start driving school in like a week. I ain't letting him out in these Atlanta roads until he can actually go learn.
How old is your son?
Driving. He's about to turn 17, 16.
Okay, all right. So, mine is 15. I think mine's a little bit younger than yours.
Yeah, he can drive on country roads, but Atlanta is different. So,
I feel
but far as him being pulled over, because I know he lacks people skills. He's used to, you know, talking to people through a computer. So I got this little thing that he ain't going to be doing no talking. You can record or whatever you want to do, but you roll that window down, it's going to have his driver's license in it. It's going to have his car registration.
Oh, like the pouch.
Flip it onto the side of the window. You roll it a little bit down, and he ain't got to do no talking.
That's good.
And if anything happened, if they just tell him you don't answer questions, and you'll accept whatever ticket, and we'll deal with it on the back end. Because I think a lot of these kids, they try to go down the rabbit hole of talking to these trained police officers, and then they can say, well, why are you nervous? Or why are you this?
Oh, no question.
And all of that starts digging into something else. So put this thing on the window. If everything checks out, he has no reason to talk to you after that.
Listen, I just interviewed Raymond Santana from the Exonerated Five. It was Central Park Five, but now the Exonerated Five. And he was telling me how that, you know, They count on young people not knowing their rights, and they didn't know any of their rights. They didn't know nothing. They didn't know that they're not supposed to talk to a policeman without their parent or a lawyer present. So the police they interrogate them, all this stuff. They should have just said nothing.
Nothing.
Like zero.
Thank God I have brothers.
Right. To be able to learn that. So that's another thing I'm doing now. A lot of working with family members of victims of police brutality. And so, like Emerald Gardner, who is Eric Garner's daughter, I work a lot with her. And Tiffany Crutcher, who in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Terrence Crutcher was killed by the police. I grew up with her. I went to middle school and high school with her. You know what I mean? And all the Tiffany Crutcher.
Tiffany Crutcher.
Yeah, these are people you should have on your show because they're doing. And that's the thing. They're all doing. You have these big organizations, right? That everybody thinks, okay, if something happens, we got to give to these big organizations. You know what I mean? We got to give to Black Lives Matter. We got to give to this. We got to do, and it's like, well, yeah, but you got to understand the people who are most affected are the family members, and they're all fighting for justice for their loved one, but not just their loved one, for other people. They're all trying to get laws changed in their particular cities. And they're, Botham Jean and Tatiana Jefferson. I interviewed both of them for my book, and the stuff that they're doing in Dallas, where their brother was killed and their sister was killed, and trying to get the laws changed to hold police accountable. You know what I mean? And Emerald Gardner had been fighting for so long to even get the cop Daniel Pantaleo even fired, and then trying to get the Eric Garner law. Like, these are the people who we need to support. You know what I'm saying? Like, those people who are trying to.
What city? Do you know the cities and all that these people are in? Because
they're all different cities.
Because we got to put pressure. Because down in Brunswick, when this thing happened to Ahmaud Arbery in Brunswick, I mean, you got to the people in Brunswick. They rallied around that young man, and they started marching. They wasn't just marching. They was going down to the police station. They was talking, and they was writing letters, and the women brought the men out, and they led the charge, really. But they did it with their minds. They didn't go and just tear buildings up. Those women were down there talking to the people that they need to talk to. Right. And they had the men there just in case you ain't.
But that's what you gotta have. It's got to be a whole effort. You got to, and that's why it's important even to reach out to allies, and for allies to be. I'm talking about white allies in particular, and for them to then become accomplices, to be able to stand with you and be able to fight. So now, especially after last summer, a lot happened with people's eyes with George Floyd. There's a lot of stuff that happened before, but George Floyd, for whatever reason, opened everybody's eyes. Like, oh wow, there's a police problem. You know what I mean? That's like, okay, there's been a police problem for a long time, but okay, all good. Now you white people know there's a police problem. So now let's try to fight for things to change. And every family member who is now in this are fighting for laws to be changed and for police to be held accountable. Those are the main things. Nobody's fighting for no sensitivity videos or anything like that, different training, but just for them to be held accountable. And that's where I think I like the way that, athletes are being able to, help them give a platform and do like that and stand with them and lobby for them. And that's where I think we need everybody. We need everybody to be on that page because we have kids.
So how are we going to stop fighting? How are we going to stop fighting for it to be everybody? Because they keep trying to attack the man and not the message. I've talked about youth centers and all these different things that if we come together and stop standing on each other's shoulders, I think we can get it accomplished with the business plans.
But you also got to understand that since the 60s, since the time of the Panthers, when I spoke to Angela Davis, spoke to Fred Hampton Jr., spoke to all of them, this is the same thing that they did during those times. They want infighting. They want to be able to get people to say, okay, well, you just doing this and you just doing that. So what you're doing is not as important than what we're doing over here. So we're over here marching on the front lines and all you're doing is talking. Okay, well, all you're doing is doing this and we're trying to fight for legislation. Well, all you're doing is this and we're trying to build homes for young people who are, you know what I mean? When all of them should be working together because they're all on the same side. Yeah. It's the same thing that's happening now. They love for us to be infighting. You know what I mean? And to go off of differences that we have. Me and you have differences of opinion. I remember after you saw me on was it Roland Martin? We talked for like 2 hours.
2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, and just like
what the hell you doing up there?
Right. It was like, what about this? And we talked, we disagreed, we agreed. Yeah. Some parts we saw each other. We was like, okay, that's a good point. We said, and in some parts we agreed to disagree, and that's how it was. But sometimes now, people like to be so hung up on where you disagree that you can't even work with the person. That you can't even do that because two people
I agree with that, and that's the same thing. That's the thing I was talking about. Once we hear a person's name, we exclude them from the conversation, and I don't think that's right. But I think a lot of times what turns me off with a lot of the, I call them talking heads, is that they can recite history beautifully. They can tell you the problem over and over again, and some of them in 2 different languages and all that. What I can't seem to figure out is the solution behind all the talking. And so that's where you lose me. If I go to, like I said, I gave an analogy. If I go to the doctor and I have this gaping wound, I would rather go to the doctor that look at the problem, assess the problem. We're gonna need sutures. And they go ahead and fix it.
Right.
If you're the guy who's just telling me, "Oh boy, you fucked up. You bleed.
Right.
You fuck wide open."
No, I agree.
You bleed. If you could just close that up, you will stop bleeding. So you need to figure that out. And I think what we could do is call a doctor. Like, no, we got to stop 100%. Talking about it and start being about it.
And that's why I like to push towards the family members, because they all have specific goals that they're trying to do in their specific cities, dealing with the police.
So how do we get it direct to the people? How do we get it direct to the family?
Each department is completely different. So the way that the Tulsa Police Department is different than the Georgia Police Department, and then you have the New York Police Department. So they have different sets of issues and problems. You know, some have independent board, some still don't have body cams. Some have body cams, but the police can turn them off anytime they want to. You know what I mean? Some have it. So each has different problems that they're all.
That's our fault, though. You know that, right?
Oh, no question. It's who we elect. It's us for not voting. Not the local elections. People are always so caught up with the main elections. The local ones are really the ones where things happen in your particular city.
And we don't know nothing about it.
I agree 100%. And so, but that's the part where we have to just be able to recognize and realize when they're trying to divide and conquer. And that's been a tactic that's been happening for the longest. We just can't stop. So I say that to say, and I've told you this before, that I do hope that eventually, in time, not now, but in time, that you and Stat and Matt Barnes do bury it. I do. I hope you do. Now I'm not. No, I don't want you to address it. I know where you at with it. I'm just saying for 2 reasons. I think that it would be a great example for younger people who are watching y'all, especially the social media young people world. You know what I mean? And say, just like the dude said, "Hey, I slapped him just like you slapped Brendan." There are people who are saying, "Oh, I'm gonna handle it just like you handle it this way," and I'm gonna just throw. And even if they understand that you're standing up for yourself, you know what I mean? Even if they understand, they're like, "Okay, yeah, I'm taking notes," and they're following, and they could get themselves in trouble when they do that in school, or when they do that when they come up. You know what I mean? And that's the part where with us, the suspend. Like I always hear you talk about the 4th grade reading level. That's 100% true. Now let's talk about the suspension level and the difference between when young black boys are suspended and everybody else. Right. So young black boys are suspended for literally anything. Like if you're sitting here having a little slight argument with a person, they want to suspend everybody for 14 days. What is suspending a kid and having them miss school and get behind further when you already know they're at a 4th grade reading level going to do for them? You know what I mean? It's going to put them further behind. So a lot of times we have to navigate through a system that is kind of set up for us to fail. And I'm only saying this because I went on Brendan's show and squashed it with him. And you know how we was. You know what I'm saying? And it was validated. I mean, I had a reason to be upset, everything like that.
But I still don't think Brendan is the type of person that really like you.
I don't think so, but it's not. But this is the thing. It ain't about that, though. It's not about that, though.
It is in a way because
he cannot like me. You're showing an example for young people to be able to look. Right now, you got all eyes on KwameHBrown.
Well, let me tell him. Let me tell him what I think. Okay, what I think is, after a man tells you your life is dirt, your life is nothing, your life is over, I think at that point you don't have to beef, you don't have to argue. Okay, you could just go your way, I go mine, because I know it's fake. In the media, you got your fists up acting like you love black people, and then you sending text messages talking about I gotta look you in your eyes, and then I say, well, okay, well, where you at? And then you try to get me in the mix with your homeboys in traffic. And I think that's fake and that's phony. So I can't respect you now after you purport yourself one way to the masses and you all about black people, but I be with my son in my car and I don't take that lightly. You telling me you want to meet me in traffic just because you asked me to a fight. Now with Matt Barnes, I can't never go around this young man because he's not a man in my opinion. So what young boys need to look at is the fact that you don't have to crash out, but you don't have to be friends with somebody who blatantly disrespects you in the way that those gentlemen disrespected me. This man offered me to his penis. I don't think I said anything to them that you wanted to do that until after that. Okay. Now, once you offered me to your penis, then the gloves come off. And so, like I said, the only way me and him can ever talk again is me and him see each other one-on-one, and then it'll be done. But Jack, I don't want to talk to a guy like that because when you make money, see, it's guys like that get everybody arrested. I knew that when I started making money, I have the power, just like you were talking about. I have the power to be positive, and I got a power of a whole lot of people that'll do a lot of things for me, especially if some people talking like that. So I stay away from people like that because everybody around a person like that is going to go to jail. He don't even protect his people enough to have security because in his mind, they're the security and they're going to go to jail for whatever he decides for them to do. And so I can't rock with somebody like that. So and that's I encourage all the kids like I gave the analogy of the lion. He's a young lion. I'm a young lion. I'm going to drink from this side of the pond and he can drink from the other side.
And I can respect that. And let me just say this though. And this is one, I think I even said this to you when we was talking. You remember those episodes and ESPN did it for like maybe 2 or 3 times. They had Magic and Isaiah Thomas, and they were talking to each other, and they squashed it. They had Kobe and Shaq, and then they stopped doing it. I love those. I thought those were like some of the most powerful things that ESPN did, or was it NBA TV? Whoever did it. It might have been NBA TV. They said some of the nastiest things to each other in the past, right? And to see those brothers there together squashing it, I just thought that was a beautiful sight.
It's squashed, in my opinion. We don't even see each other. I don't run into that.
I feel you, but I'm saying when I saw Chris Webber and Jalen Rose have that brief moment when Chris Webber was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it was like a brief moment of they congratulated each other and they said, "Thank you. Hey, you know how much your mother meant to me." And they looked. It was a quick little moment, right? I saw a few little articles. Well, I didn't really see a whole lot of articles like if they would have been beefing. If they would have been on there talking about, hey, I'm gonna see you after that, and they, if they would have done that, you saw articles everywhere. Why? Because they don't want us to be together. That's the reason. They don't really want that. But
you gotta have 2 people that want to be together.
And that's why I said not now. That's why I said maybe not now. Yeah, I said maybe not now.
No, with me, I'm just telling you, it's not gonna be ever.
But you can't say never. If the way that Magic and Isaiah were beefing, and they were beefing like really beefing back.
But it take 2 to beef. I wasn't beefing with nobody. I was on the tractor minding my fucking business. So he could have left me alone. And then when I reached out to the young man and told him I would not even be on the internet if when I reached out to him like, yo, you went way too far. Like I didn't even have to be in that piece. Not one podcast, but
I agree. Your original point of standing up for yourself, nobody disagrees with. Nobody, nobody that disagrees with.
So that's why I think the apology would be fake because at first their original thought was this: you little dusty nigga, you somewhere. They don't know nothing about me. He ain't asked me how I was doing. But you little dusty nigga, you don't got nothing going on. Like, come on, man. That's not how you talk to me.
And I agree. But people do realize that they're wrong in time.
No, they realize they wrong when you make them realize that. That's the only thing.
However they get to it. Yeah, they can realize. Okay, you know what? Or I can reflect on certain things that I'm going back with the wisdom. I'm like, you know what? I could have handled that better, or I shouldn't have done that. There's a whole lot of and the reason why I do it because I use it as an example for my AU team and my son all the time.
But listen, I've said things as a younger man that a dude accepted my apology, but because I said something that was too far or may have disrespected somebody that he cared about in a certain way, he was like, we cool, I accepted your apology, but we can't be cool like that no more. We can't rock like that. And I gotta respect that, because you can't tell somebody how to take what you're giving to them. And the fact that I came to these brothers, I was humble, I was respectful, and their initial thought was, man, fuck this dude. I'm bigger than him. I'm on this platform. He's a little busty scrub and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, you done drunk that Kool-Aid, boy. Right. Because we men, like, you gonna get hit with that same embalming fluid I get hit with. And the reason why I don't let someone call me a celebrity, because it's different treatment. Until someone can prove this celebrity theory to me, that when we all walk in the same room, that I'm breathing a different type of air, that I'm gonna go into I'm gonna go up and you're gonna bury me in celebrity heaven or celebrity ground, then don't tell me I'm a celebrity so you can treat me different.
I agree with you.
Celebrity's horrible.
And I agree with you on that point. But my other point was just of how young people look at who they choose as their celebrity.
Yeah.
And that part we can't deny. Young people, they look at us as celebrities. It don't even matter.
They need to stop tricking young people like that.
I agree.
I agree.
That
they need to run ads to say, your mama is your celebrity. Your daddy is your biggest celebrity. You don't even know these people. So you don't know what kind of trauma these celebrities are going through. Most of these people are on pills. They're on all type of antidepressants. And the reason why they're on these pills is because everybody wants to tell a celebrity what to do, how to act, how to talk. And so I blew the roof off of it by coming on the internet saying, fuck you. I'm not going to let you tell me how to talk. I'm a full-bodied man. I listen to the radio. I play a radio song. Sexy little B, sexy little hoe, your throat. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Y'all telling me how to talk, but you'll pay a teenage kid to sway the minds of these young people and curse and talk like that and turn these little girls into hoochie mamas and turn these boys into some type of drug head sex demons. And then you want to tell me how to talk?
But also everything is for a reason. There's a reason why they only play those kind of songs on the radio. And it's all connected to why they want young people, especially young black males, to go into that lifestyle that those particular rappers who they forced to say that. Yeah. There's a lot. When I was in Atlanta, I met a whole lot of rappers. And a lot of them don't even act like that. They don't even talk like that. They're educated. They got degrees. They got families, everything like that. They have other stuff where they're talking positive stuff, but that ain't what the record label wants.
But how can you say you love black people if you're going to do that?
No.
How can you say you love black people when so many people around these rappers get arrested?
I agree. And it's the same. It's the same thing as back in the day when they would have blackface and they would do the dance and everything like that, and that's what they wanted them to do. And that's what got them spins. That's what got them the you know what I mean, getting hired, the money, everything like that. This is all related. Hold on, I'm about to relate all this. So the rappers now, a lot of them, the record label says, look, we see this positive stuff. If they presented them some positive stuff, they're like, nah, let's talk about guns and drugs and stuff like that. That's what we want to promote and put on the thing. For women, you got women that want to talk like Lauryn Hill, that want to talk like Rhapsody and all like that. They don't get no spins. They're like, okay, you got to be like this, talk about this, and then they get the spins. Now, let's go to the media. They reward people who did what they did to Kwame Brown. They reward people who do controversy and negativity and things like that, like Stephen A. Smith and Charles Barkley. They reward the people who do the court gestures like what Barkley does and stuff like that, right? So it's always bigger than them. It's bigger than them. There's somebody up here that's holding the strings. But people had to be able to understand and wake up to see that they're being used. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know. I don't think a lot of people know that they're being used.
I don't think so either. But yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you to a certain extent. Okay. Because there are people pulling the puppet strings, but we don't have to drink the Kool-Aid. I 100% agree. I actually 100%. Go out to these clubs, and the reason I don't go to clubs, I go to hookah bars. And the reason why they're giving you that type of music is because that's what sells. We actually like it. When that song come on, I didn't know the words of that song until I heard it and I really listened to it at a hookah bar. And I said, what are they saying? But it's majority women up and they with it, mouth wide open. So you can't always blame the person who's capitalizing and making money off of it if you're buying it.
Also though, if they play it nonstop and that's all you hear on the radio. You said when you turn on the radio and all you hear is the radio. I don't either. But I'm saying a lot of people do. So they turn on the radio, they hear 7 songs over and over and over and over again. And you know the words without even knowing the words if you're listening to the radio.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the positive, Meanwhile, the positive people, like I turned my daughter on to Lauryn Hill, turned my daughter on to Rhapsody, Ciroc up here in DC, all these different positive women.
We have to buy their songs, though.
We have to buy. I agree 100%.
If you're not going to buy it, then it's almost, and I guarantee you, all those artists that you name, if you ask them from their point of view, why don't people listen to your music? They'll be like, because I'm not giving the message that they really want to hear,
or that they really want to promote. It's not just.
I think it's both. I'm gonna give credit. I'm gonna definitely kick the draws in the ass of the execs, because they know that the people who are perpetuating this bull crap, they need the money. And all they're doing is using their money over people that don't have money in order to. But my thing is, the money is not helping. It's not staying in our neighborhoods.
I agree.
There's a shooting every other doggone week, so you got to keep paying these attorneys. If I'm an attorney of a rapper, I'm gonna tell who you beefing with where you at every time.
Of course.
If I know the way you're gonna react is to shoot at somebody in a nightclub and you're not gonna have security. Oh shit, I'm finna get my money low. My money low. Let me show whoever the concert gonna be that I know shooting. Hey y'all, the ops, go over there to that club. They in there. The next thing you know, the morning come. So he get $40,000-$50,000 because the rapper don't know how to move with security.
But listen, with that same thing with the media, why they like to put up drama and post different things about, make articles. Okay, this first said this, that, because they feed off of that too, and they know that it's all about money. And that's why I was saying, okay, I said to the media, did I tell you this? I think I told you this. So many media people reached out to me and said, hey, I know you're friends with Kwame. I know that's your dude. You know what I mean? Like that. You might want to talk to him and stuff like that. I was like, talk to him and say what?
You might want to shut him up.
I was like, talk to him and say what? I was like, Kwame is a grown man. Kwame is saying what is on his mind and his heart. I was like, you think that I'm going to talk to Kwame on your behalf? I was like, you must be crazy.
It's hard enough for you to talk to me on your behalf.
I'm telling you, but the thing about it is, I said this, I was like, they're just worried that you're going to come for them next. You know what I mean? And there's a long list of people. There's a long list of people who are involved in this with the media. Because at first, the media was like, okay, and I even on my page when I posted different stuff, they're like, okay, well, don't lump us in with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. We're different. I'm like, no, you're not really that different. Because all I have to do is Google. All I have to do is look at your past articles. You're the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, you thrive off of that. When I told that story, do you remember when it was after the playoff games and the media was going back and forth between you and Gilbert? Remember I told that story? I sat there and watched it, and they really started a whole thing with y'all, and I look at what they wrote. I'm sitting there watching the media. I'm checking them all out. They thrive off of that. They do that on every team. Start rumors. Just start one person with a beef with another person. You know what I mean? And that's the part, going back to it, I was like, and again, not now, not even, but just on the radar. Y'all have the opportunity to do something that Biggie and Pac didn't have time to do. You know what I mean? That they never had time to do. They had a big war in the media. The media fueled it, East and West, everything like that. It's all had people choosing sides, everything like that, right? Until some tragedy happened, they're no longer here. Y'all have an opportunity to show people that, look, we might have differences. We might disagree. I still think that was some bull to what you did, but we're going to squash it because we're all on bigger issues. And we're not going to let y'all, talking about the media in particular, keep pumping this, because that's what they want to do. I posted this like 3 different times. I was like, I want to hear you media, right? When they eventually do squash this, I want to hear y'all just as loud as y'all all right now pumping this.
They ain't gonna do that.
They're not gonna do it. I know that. I know it. Hey, I know they ain't gonna do it.
They ain't gonna do none of that shit.
None of it.
They gonna be like, darn.
Right, it's over. Dang. All right, let's try to start another beef with somebody else. That's what they gonna do. That's what they gonna do immediately. But man, shoot, but hey, for real, I got nothing but respect for you, nothing but love for you for the longest, man. I got to have you on my because we ain't even we just scratching the surface on stuff we need to talk about.
Well,
so I want to have you on my show.
On your podcast.
Bring me on your show. You come on my show to rematch, and so I did most of talking this time on my show. I'm gonna let you do most of talking because I want to be able to. A lot of people still don't know Kwame Brown. And that was the thing that I was like, wait, that was my teammate for a long, like we was cool, like that was my guy. Y'all don't know him. You know what I mean?
You hear the way they talk, you would think they know me.
I'm like, y'all, what you're saying is completely incorrect. Like, who told you that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know him. So I want people to know you. I want people to know the stuff that you're working on, the way your mind works, how you were able to persevere through all of that. Because that's part, and that's part. Some of that you got to save for your book. I want to encourage you. You got to write the book. You know what I mean? But because really, that's going to inspire young people who are going through it right now, either at school with their teacher, or because everybody has an MJ and Doug Collins in their life, whether they're their boss at work, whether they're there, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's in a position of authority over them, have to figure out a way how to persevere through it and not go crazy and go upside the dude's head and just say, you know what, F this job, I don't need this, and I'm gonna put this dude in the ground right now. You know what I'm saying? No, it's real. And that's the thing. You were 17 and 18 navigating through that.
I had to fly my mom in a couple times, boy.
I get it.
She had to give me mama cooking, boy. She had to tell, don't you? She had to slap me in the back of my head one day. I told her, I'm down with it. Wow, boy, is you crazy?
Is you crazy? Yeah, but that's the crazy.
Yeah, and once we had that talk, it put everything in a different perspective. And you know how it go. The running joke that some of the players that don't play 1st and 15, and it's almost like you have to love the game a little less because we all are coming from our respective teams or our respective wherever we came from, high school, college. We were the man, you know what I mean, on our teams, wherever we came from. And now you're putting in a bigger pot. And so, you know, it's pecking order. You're not the man anymore, but you want a fair shake. You know what I mean? And they don't understand how competitive that is. In the locker room, y'all cool, but it's still your job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that extra elbow is not personal. It's this guy just trying to eat. So it's that we learn each other a lot. I learned all of you guys' temperament. And that's why I learned to, you know me, you didn't see me beefing with nobody, arguing or fighting with nobody.
I don't know.
I saw who was cool. I hung out with him. And if you wasn't cool, stay the hell away from you. And that's what I do.
That's it.
I thought that the whole Brendan thing, people called me about that too a while back. Like, how did they get in the fight? This and that. And I said, I was nice. I said, Brendan just has only child syndrome. That's it. And I said, you can take away from whatever you want to take away from that. I just don't think
that's accurate. I think that was accurate. You know,
he wasn't taught how to respect men in a way that men are going to receive. He talked to you in that witty, I'm going to outsmart you way, and dudes don't really resonate with that.
Yeah. But you know, another, and this is the last thing I'll say. Then I know probably went longer than you wanted to go.
No, I'm good.
You're good. But the one thing also that it showed is the way that athletes, because what I keep saying people that this is bigger than Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown is putting this message on full blast and using himself. And now he's showing that it's a bigger issue. So even what's going on with Naomi Osaka right now is related to what was going on with you with the media. It's interesting because I was my daughter, Imani, she came up to me. She said, hey, I love the way you're taking up for your teammate and talking about all the stuff with the media. She's like, but you need to write something about Naomi Osaka too, and the way that they treating her in the media and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, let's talk. And so she's talking, and I wrote something for The Guardian. And I'm talking about how the fundamental issue is that a lot of people don't look at athletes as humans.
Right.
That's what it boils down to.
Celebrities.
Yeah. Or just like robots with no emotions, no feelings. We don't care about how you feel. Like too much. So when Imani started breaking down to me, because I didn't even know some of this, she was like, Naomi Osaka has been dealing with anxiety for a long time and depression for a long time. She was like, look at this video. Showed me the video. And it was her from like, a few years ago. She had just won. She's doing a press conference. She looks sad. And she's trying to force through talking and saying, I'm happy, this year. And then she just stopped. She said, you know what? I'm really sad right now. I just want to just go and just be in my house. And they were like, what are you going to do to celebrate? She's like, I'm not going to do anything to celebrate. You know, and I was like, what? And Imani said, look at this. See, now who in their right mind cannot tell that she's dealing with some mental health issues and depression and stuff like that. So now that she went to the French Open, and she said, listen, I don't want to talk to the media right now. And the guy was like, you know, you have to talk to the media, or we're going to find you. And then we're gonna find you again, and it might be permanent. And they did all these threats, all these different all these different opens was saying that, you know, it would be, and so they didn't care about. She said, "I was at my mental health." That's what Naomi Osaka said. And
but they'll run these ads about mental health, but
that's all
who has the issue is telling you how to respect them. Yeah, no, you don't know what you need. You need to push through it. You need to take this pill.
And it's so crazy because, you know, Imani was listening to me on this radio show, and the guy was saying that, well, it's the athlete's job. That's part of the deal. You have to talk to the media. And I was like, do you have any struggles with mental health or depression? This is what I asked him. He was like, well, no. I was like, then you can't comment on somebody that does.
Hello.
You don't know what it's like. So I said, so I haven't. So what I did was I asked Shamika Holsclaw. Remember, you have Shamika Holsclaw. So I said, I'm going to write this article. Can you give me a quote for it? And she was like, oh, yeah, definitely. Told me, you know, broke it down because she's dealt with mental health issues. And now she's a mental health advocate. You have to go to somebody who actually has dealt with it. If you're going to give, you know, you can't say, well, I don't know. I just think athletes should just speak because, you know, they make all this money and they need to speak. I'm like, well, come on. That means that you don't look at them as humans. Because right now we have young kids literally committing suicide because they have anxiety and depression and getting bullied and all this stuff. And it shouldn't take where after you have a tragedy for people to look back and say, oh, well, we should have seen these signs.
That's only when they care.
Have you seen the movie? It's a show called 13 Reasons. Have you ever heard of that? All right. It's
don't watch TV.
Yo, no, but sometimes it's good though, because it was showing this girl who committed suicide, and all the people in the school, they were like, we should have seen this sign here, and this sign here. But that shouldn't be the only time where you pay attention. If somebody's telling you, I have mental health issues right now, I need to take a pause, something like that, they should be able to take that seriously. So that's so that Naomi Osaka, that's how it ties into Kwame Brown. You know what I mean? As far as they have to be able to look at athletes as actually human beings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
same thing with Kyrie. Kyrie needed a moment. It's almost like they go to talking about how much money men and women make. Obviously, I didn't know about that story. Men and women who make a lot of money and they're athletes, to me, especially the black ones, we should be thankful for the money that we get. So it don't, no matter what, you got to go out there and play. It's just like, wait a minute, but I got to deal with this, and they don't care. Until somebody crash out, that's when they run these stories, and that's when they act like they care for ratings, and when they show you every day that they don't care. So
that's why I'm glad you're calling it out. That's what I'm saying. That's why this is bigger than Kwame Brown.
It's way bigger than Kwame Brown, because people got to understand, just like I said in my last live, once you sign company policy, you're dealing with the same thing. Y'all want to talk about a machine. Once you sign company policy, it's not about your performance. And most people don't even read their company policy, but at any moment, especially in Georgia, it's a 4-work state, so we can fire you for anything. And so, that company policy, we got to look into that, because that's controlling a lot of people. Because if I argue with you or we just disagree on a point, somebody can call me racist or somebody can call me a word, and now I'm fired from my job, regardless of whether I'm performing well or not. And I think that's what's keeping America not free. Because if there's going to be a consequence for the words that I'm saying, how can you say it's free for me to say something? I'm just going to sit quiet because I got a family to feed. So
no, that's a good point. Yeah, man, we got to do a part 2. You're gonna come on my platform to rematch, and we're gonna do a part 2, because I want people to really know you.
I can't treat you like a friend, because I want you to email me.
Go through your publicist and manager.
Don't even call me no more. I gotta find somebody for you to call so I can feel important. And they're gonna email you, timestamp it, and then I'll get back to you.
You silly, man. Nah, man, we're gonna keep it going though, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing your thing, man. Happy that you calling all this out, man.
Yes, sir, man. And then just let me know. Like I said, if in the next couple of days, I got Judge Joe Brown. I got to go on his show today at 4 o'clock. I got to.
We'll go maybe next week. We'll go next week.
We'll go next week. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, next week.
Just hit me up. We'll set it up.
All right, that's what's up, man.
Thank you, man.
Salute.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. Peace.
All right. Yes, sir. That was Etan Thomas. Yeah, he wrote 2 good articles. You guys go check him out. He just told you who he wrote for, which I forgot. And I'm sorry that I'm sweating. The guy came and gave me a quote on doing some things in the yard that I want, and I had to walk him around the yard right before Etan called me. So I was sweating. But I appreciate you guys watching. And on Etan's podcast, I'm pretty sure he's going to break down the situation a little bit more. But this wasn't about basketball, but since he wrote that article, I'm finding out and learning some things that it may become about basketball. I think somebody owed me something. But anywho, I think we all have to look at, like I said, this company policy, because as Etan said, and as a lot of people who support me understand the message that it's about us. We got to start using our voice. All the things that we're complaining about, if we stick together, we don't have to complain. That's why they keep making us fight each other. So if there is a Stephen A., or if there is a racist cop or whatever that's somewhere in office, and the people elect the officers, we the people can do what we want. So it's not about being a mob mentality. It's about holding people accountable for things that they're doing and standing on people's shoulders. So no way in America, if what is looking like is unfolding, that they're standing on black athletes and some athletes' shoulder just so they can bring in more revenue for the NCAA or foreign players, then I think it's a great business, but I think that's kind of messed up. So us people got to band together. So I'm going to go take me a little nap for Judge Joe. See y'all in a couple of hours. I'll get the information of where Judge Joe, what his platform is, and then I will text it, or I'll put it on my Instagram, and I will put it on my YouTube. You guys have a blessed day.